if you're breaking up with someone, you have to say exactly what you mean.
Oh, yeah.
And exactly what you want. And what I mean by that is you're not in love with that person. If you don't want to be with them, you don't see a future with them, you need to tell them that it is a breakup.
Yeah.
It is a official breakup.
Everyone.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to another episode of 30 Kind of Flirty.
With Joey and Brittany.
How's your week been, Joe? This is like the 10th time we've tried to do this.
Yeah, the week, not this week, like the last few weeks have just been tiring.
Yes, I would agree.
Brittany and I work full time, and work has been really busy right now because it's like a budget season, so we're busy. We have our French classes. On top of that, we have, doing the podcast, which is fun, but it's a lot of work. So we've just been a little...
Exercising is the big thing for me
and
right
now we had the time change.
And it gets dark at like 3.
So it's been a struggle.
I go to the trail for 3:30. By the time I'm off at like 4:45, it's dark.
I know, and it's dark.
It's crazy. So other than the busyness...
Yeah.
And the tiredness of November so far.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? Anything? I haven't really talked to you. I haven't really seen you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've had a couple bumbles, I will say.
Ooh.
We're bumbling through our 30s.
Keeping on the theme? Tell me. I don't think I've heard these dumbles.
These
dumbles?
this week.
I haven't heard these dumbles.
So, I was grocery shopping. I went to get groceries. I only need to get a few things. And I always bring with me the reusable bags every time. And I always use self-checkouts. I know some people...
I do too.
I know some people don't like them, but I usually use them if I'm whatever. So I got into the store, got the cart, and realized I left the bags in the car. And I thought, well, no big deal. I'll just go and pack them in the car when I get back to the car. So I go through and I get my stuff, and then I go and I'm at the self-checkout. And I went to a store that I usually don't go to. So, you got to get used to how the system kind of works. So I started scanning things. And I know that, you get through the bagging area where normally you'd put your bags and you would bag your stuff as you scan them. Yeah. But because I didn't have my bags, I didn't want to put all the items on that platform just to then turn around and pick them all back up and put them back in the cart.
Yeah, of course.
So I thought I would scan them and then just put them back in the cart, scan, put them back. And every time I would scan an item, it would come up on the screen, skip bagging. I would have to click that and then keep going. And I thought, okay, that's kind of annoying. Every time I scan something, that comes up, but no big deal. And then all of a sudden,
oh God,
out of nowhere, this, 7-year-old bitch comes out of nowhere and says, no, we ain't doing that today. We ain't doing that today. I was like, you're talking to me? Excuse me?
You're like looking behind you?
Yeah, and she's like, we ain't doing that. You can't just scan things like that one at a time, put them back. You got to put them right over there. I stopped her where she was.
I'm going to stop you right there.
I did. I said, I'm going to stop you right there. I said, if you're going to come to me, a customer, you're going to come to me polite. And she was like, I am being polite. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, you could have came over and said, excuse me, can you please do it this way?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
all you had to do. And then she left. And I said, great. Now I don't even know where I left off at. And then she came in and showed me where I left off at and stuff. But I'm like...
Well, what was the point of that type thing?
Like... It's like... But here's the thing. Like, I'm a super nice person until someone disrespects me.
Yes.
In that kind of situation, I probably normally would have still said something, but because the week had been so shitty, I just snapped.
Well, you had like your breaking point.
And was like, no. You don't come and say that to me. You come and you be
polite.
Well,
and she's in for a rude awakening if she's acting like that now. It's not even Christmas time.
I know. I couldn't get over it. I was fuming. So then I jumped in the car. I called Brittany. I vented. I drove to the gym because I had to work off all that steam. And I sat down to do my workout, and the first thing I see across is a sexy little jock with his hat on backwards. And I said to Britt, all is well.
Yeah. I was like,
all is good.
With Joe, you just got to go with the flow.
But have you guys ever had that where you're at a store and you're just dealing with a friggin' rude ass worker? Like, get them that are cranky, but I've never had that where someone just comes out, we ain't doing that today.
I'm trying to think, like, I'm not confrontational, as you know.
No, you're not.
But there has
You probably would have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm like, give me your apron, I'll do it. I would. No, I think the older I get and like the pandemic and stuff, I feel like has made me more self-aware of like what's right and what's wrong and that kind of thing. My thing is I don't tell people off like in person. I'd rather do it behind like a closed window. So like if like somebody like yells at me, drive-throughs.
You're good at giving lip in a drive-through.
Or like a 4-way stop. Yeah. I will tell you off because you ain't getting me.
Yeah, you can't find me.
That kind of thing. But no, but that must have felt good though to just
I just couldn't. No.
I think it's better to do that than like get into your car and be super upset and not having said
didn't say anything. And you know what? It was that bad. I wish I had clocked her name because I would have.
I wish I would have clocked her.
Well, that too. But I would have went to a manager and said, "Listen, this is how she spoke to me. You got to talk to her." And so you can't talk to customers like that, right?
Yeah. So that wasn't a great start.
No.
Was that the beginning of the week?
I think it was last week.
Yeah.
End of last week. Yeah. I didn't tell Brittany this story because this is just oh my god. There's another gym story, but I was going to the gym. I don't usually go into the locker rooms, but now that it's wintertime, you always have your jacket and stuff. So now I go in there.
Yeah.
So I was in the locker room and I put my stuff in. The only free locker I could find was on the bottom because they got some on top, some on the bottom. So I'm like putting my stuff in, and then I knelt down to like tie my shoes. And from behind me, an old man, like 80-year-old man or whatever.
80?
Yeah. Walked by, and he was using the top locker next to where mine was. So he was, doing his thing. I don't think he saw me there below. And he was naked. And I didn't know he was there. No joke. I was like tying my shoes, and I just happened to turn to get up. And I'm face to face with his dick.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, oh.
Oh no.
I was like, I don't want to do this, sir. Oh my god. But he didn't even notice because he had his locker open, so his face was blocked. I just turned around.
I feel like I hear your stories and I'm like, sure.
And I'm just like, got up and I just went and did my workout. I was like, what the fuck?
At least he didn't, like, it wasn't like an awkward moment for you.
No, he didn't even know. He was just
swinging that thing around.
Swinging it around. Oh my god. Oh, that was crazy. Anyway. So something else I want to say real quick, and I was debating if I was going to share this or not, but in the essence of last week's episode where we talked about keyboard warriors and people on social media and on apps and saying whatever the fuck they want to say and being bullies and stuff, I had a situation that just happened this past week where
I didn't know about this either. I don't think.
A blank profile had messaged me, and I don't have my face on there anymore because I go through phases where I'm okay with having my face. This is Grindr. So yes, Tinder and stuff. Yeah, obviously there's pictures of me. Grindr, sometimes I don't because I just...
And a lot of people don't on Grindr.
Yeah, it's just
it's a common thing.
So I go through phases. Sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're not. So this might have been why he messaged, because I look like I wasn't blank, but he didn't know who I was. But he had messaged me. He was a blank profile. And I have in my... or I used to have in my like little bio for body type, which we can get into whole body image stuff in the gay community at another time. But they have body type, and you can list, muscular, slim, toned,
a few extra,
stocky, large, whatever it is. I put toned. I used to say average, but this past year and a half,
you're toned.
I've been working out, yes, and I put toned down. And I also had in my bio just a little funny thing where it was like tall, comma, dark, comma, and then in brackets, kinda, ? Handsome. Just like a little cheeky thing, right? No big deal. Yeah. So this person messages me.
Just to be clear, you have your photos up right now.
No.
At this point. You're faceless.
Faceless.
Okay, it's just the bio.
It's just my body. Like,
glad we pointed that out.
A shirtless photo, tastefully done.
No head.
But no head, because I just
the neck down.
So, anyway, he messages and just says, your body type isn't toned. It's average at best.
A faceless profile.
And then messages also, how are you dark? You're pretty white. So I messaged back. Usually I probably wouldn't have, but I messaged back and I said, it's a fucking saying, has nothing to do with skin color. And then I said, kindly go fuck yourself. And I blocked him, basically. But like, because Tall, Dark, and Handsome, it comes from like, swoon books.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where it's
Everybody
like
says that.
a white guy, usually, an aristocratic guy who's like dark haired, and that's what it comes from. Like,
Yes.
it's nothing to do with skin color.
No. My first reaction was that you rejected them at some point and they're coming back for you. But
Yeah.
I know that,
Yeah, that could be it.
I just don't see the point.
But in our discussion last week, like,
Yeah.
that message came and it didn't really affect me. 'Cause I just
No,
thought you're no
and-
one. Like, who are you? You could be some...
Well, and we had this discussion before about the gay community or the LGBT can be quite toxic, and that would be a great
Yeah.
episode because I think
Yeah.
there's more there for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, yes.
I'm sorry that happened to you, though.
Yeah, but I just thought, wow, how timely. We just literally talked about dealing with online bullying, keyboard warriors.
And for no
that
reason.
happened, so
there you go.
if any of you guys are dealing with it, don't worry about it. Block them.
It
See you
happens all
later.
the time. Yeah.
See you later.
I'm trying to think, do I have any funny stories? But no, I've been like I said earlier, is like literally work, work out, have dinner, French, and then
Are you
chill.
watching anything good?
No, well, I'm
Anything-
starting to get into the Christmas stuff. But
Yeah.
no, not really. I don't watch a lot of TV to begin with. I
Yeah.
did recently, and Joey's going to laugh. I know you're just going to smirk at me, but I recently found somebody on YouTube who actually found on TikTok. That's never happened to me before. Finding somebody through the talk, moving on to the gram, moving on to the tube. Do you see what I did there?
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, and her name's Cecilia, and she lives in a little like northern island up in like the Arctic. And I've just been obsessed with watching her vlogs lately.
What kind of vlogs does she do?
Well, because she's in the Arctic, they get no daylight and no,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not explaining that properly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so it's just really super interesting to see her way of life as far as like food's expensive. Obviously, she can't just run out to the mall to Home Sense or to Michael's or like I don't know. I just find that stuff fascinating. I find people who live in really remote areas super, super fascinating. And I always think to myself, if I could live another life or if I could go anywhere, like where would it be? And I feel like there's like a peace, just not having there's no expectations for her, right? Like because we were talking about Christmas, it's always like keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I mean? Like now it's Christmas time. So now it's the photos like of your Starbucks coffee cup and it's the photos of your Christmas tree. And I feel like when you're more removed from that kind of society, what you're expected to do in those seasonal, I don't know. I feel like the pressure's kind of off. It would be kind of like nice to think about for a minute. Now, that being said, I think if you're in that environment, you would probably get pretty bored. If you weren't like an outdoorsy person, it's really cold. But I don't know. It just got me thinking like I would just love to just experience that. So I'm like super fascinated with her vlogs. Is it daily
vlogging that she
It is. And they're like, I'm used to like daily vlogging and like being like 40 minutes long, like Zoella or Zoe Sugg. But no, hers are like 15 to like 20 minutes, the perfect little length. And she always does footage with like a drone of like the Arctic like mountains and like northern lights. And she always puts really soft music, always at the end of her vlog. And it's just, I don't know, like kind of like lulls you to sleep. And so I've been doing all my workouts, doing my dinner, everything, getting into bed at like 7 because I'm not supposed to be snacking right now. And watching these vlogs. And I've just been really into it.
Nice.
I know that's not super exciting.
No, it is. I like discovering. I do that all the time. I discover
Oh my
YouTubers
God.
and I love when they daily vlog. It's one of my favorite things to watch is vlogging.
And I've just been really enjoying just seeing somebody else's way of life. Anyways, that's
Okay.
what we're saying. I mean, there's no segue into our topic today. There's
No.
nothing. There's not a lick.
Not a lick, love.
Not a lick. Not a lick.
Yeah, so we're talking about
We're breaking up.
breakups, and there's a lot to cover, obviously, with breakups. So what we're doing, we're kind of doing it as a two-parter. There's going to be this episode and then another episode in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And today's episode is mostly coming from the perspective of the person that's doing the breaking up. The breaker-upper?
You're the breaker-upper.
So, like, just like, like, what are some of the smart, good ways to break up with someone? And what are some of the shitty ways that you should probably try to avoid? Because we're in our 30s. We don't got time to waste. Like, we want to settle down, most of us, probably right now. And, and we're older now. Like, we're adults. We know we should be treating people better.
How do you end something that is super good, but you just know they're not the right person for you? That's another hard one.
You just fall out of love. Sometimes.
Which happens.
Or sometimes you are still in love with each other, but circumstances, love sometimes isn't enough. And I've been through that. And it's really hard, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I've done a little bit of research just with my own personal stories and trying to link them to some of the articles out there. And I kind of got a list here, and Brittany will riff off of that too, because as you know, I'm type A. I come with my notebook and my notes.
Joey's sitting there with like his notebook, and I'm
Britt just sits down with a cup of tea and she's ready to go. So
I'm just sitting here with like, nothing in front of me.
So
let's get into it. What do you got?
Let's get into it. Okay, so we're talking about breaking up and the
breaker-upper.
do's and the don'ts of how to do it. So I think one of the very important things a lot of people think of is like, do it in person.
Yeah.
Right? If you're in a long-term relationship with someone and you're ready to break up with them, you don't do it by text.
No.
Even a phone call isn't enough. You got to do it in person, as long as, it's a safe thing. If you're going through an abusive relationship and you need to leave them, that's completely different.
Yeah, of course.
And I always think of, have you ever watched the Katy Perry documentary, Part of Me, that came out like years ago?
No.
She was on tour. And
but you've told me this.
She was married to Russell Brand, who was a piece of shit. And he wanted to divorce her. And he did it by sending her a text and telling her that it was over. He was going to divorce her. And there's a clips in that documentary where she's just bawling her eyes out and can hardly get up. And she's like 5 minutes away from having to get out there and perform her tour, basically, and she does it. But it just got me thinking, like, what kind of piece of shit,
a selfish one,
right,
for sure,
could go and
like, if you're gonna do it over text, like, let's talk about that for a second. If you feel like you need to do it over text because you don't like confrontation or whatever the case may be, at least give the person that you're breaking up with the decency or the respect to do it at a time that's good for them. Like, he knew that she was on tour. Like, he could have asked a billion people where she was or what she was doing. The fact that he did it right before her going to do, like, I'm assuming a stadium type situation. It was
like California. It was her teenage dream tour.
That
Huge
to
tour.
me is like, if you're gonna do it, at least think like, okay, so it's Saturday afternoon and gives them time to recover to go back. I don't know, just like be thoughtful at least.
And obviously that's a very they were married. That's a you should have the balls
like next level. Oh my god.
Have a discussion, but obviously there's different types of relationships and there's different how long you've been together. But an example for me, like in university, I started dating someone. I think I told the story when we talked about meeting people in the wild. Where that guy at the pub kind of came over.
Yes, that's right.
Well, we dated for a month and a half.
And then you just weren't like feeling it.
And I just wasn't feeling it. And it's like, well, I'm only dating him for a month. Like, I could totally just message him and say, you know what, not feeling it. But no, I had messaged him during the day one time and I said, hey, like, do you want to get together tonight? I'd like to, have a chat. So we got together and we went for a walk. And I just told him, I just said, I was very nervous. I mean, of course, you're nervous doing that.
You feel bad, too.
But I just told him that I wasn't feeling it. And I would love to be friends with him. I felt more like a friendship was there than anything else. He was very upset. And it took some time, but we did become pretty good friends after that. But it was one of those things where even though we never had an official relationship. We never were boyfriend and boyfriend. We never had that kind of talk. It was just hanging out a few times, going for coffee, doing this, doing that, watching movies. But I still felt like, the decent thing to do is to meet with him in person, go for a walk or go for coffee or something and just say, hey, I'm just not.
I think it's important to note too, when you're going through something like that and you need to end it like what Joey went through, you have to remember that for the person that you're breaking up with, obviously it hurts, but a lot of it has to do with ego and rejection in general. Let's think about all the times that somebody has ghosted us or ended things with us, or friendships, not just relationships. Yeah, it sucks and it doesn't feel great and you wonder like why, but a lot of it is just the rejection part in general. It just doesn't feel good to be rejected. Not necessarily by that person, just rejection in general sucks.
Any kind.
So sometimes you think like, oh my God, I'm ruining this person's life. Oh my God. It's like, no, you didn't ruin their life. You just ruined their day.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to be rejected. So I think that's hard though.
It is hard.
To have to do it in person.
It's hard to hurt someone.
For sure. For sure.
That leads me though to another point. It's hard to break up with someone. It hurts to hurt someone, but at the same time, you get people that will stay because it's easier. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think that is a disservice to both the person that wants to break up and the person that is in a relationship where they think everything's fine, but really it's not. And I think if you're someone that is in a relationship with someone and you're not in love anymore, it's not working, but you're nervous to leave or there's comfort there or whatever the reason could be, I think you have to remember that, you know, you could be missing out on a lot of different opportunities.
For sure.
And so could that person that you're with. And it's not fair to them. It's not fair to you. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I was saying before. It's like sometimes it's hard to break up with somebody that it's fine. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, because there's that, like, there's that fun, that, like, I always think of it like the horizon. So, like, your horizon's like a normal relationship. And then your sun up is like all the great things. And then when the sun's down, that's kind of like the shitty part of the relationship. But generally speaking, there's always a horizon. There's always that center, right, that you start at. And I always think, like, it would be hard to leave a situation that, like, the horizon's always there. It's always good. You can always see it. Yeah. You know what to expect. The person doesn't abuse you physically, emotionally, any of that. They wouldn't cheat on you. They wouldn't. It's just good. Yeah. It's good.
And I was in a situation where I was in a long-term relationship. Not that I wanted it to end, but I definitely wasn't happy to where it got. You know, when you're with someone for a very long time, it's easy for things to become routine and comfort, and the passion is gone. And, you know, I remember I was with someone, he worked all the time, and I was always home alone. And it was fine. He had a good job. Bills were paid. Like, all that stuff was fine. But I was lonely. But I still loved him. So I didn't want to break up with him. But I wasn't happy. Right? So it's one of those things
status quo.
Yeah. I think status quo. And sometimes there's a fear of disrupting something that's comfortable, but sometimes you have to. Yeah. And I also think, too, like, everything happens for a reason. So if that relationship at the time hadn't have ended, I wouldn't have met who I consider to be the love of my life. Even though we're no longer together, I did find someone who was, I think, my soulmate, and unfortunately it didn't work out. But you know what I mean? It's something where you should never settle. If you're not happy, you gotta just rip the Band-Aid off, do the breakup, let them move on, let yourself move on, and find your happiness.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yourself, right?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't have any stories about, like, breaking up with somebody. I'm a bad breaker-upper. I've only been in situations before where I've broken up with a boyfriend I've never been broken up with, and I'm not using that as like a flex. I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. But I've been, you know, guilty of just kind of ghosting the relationship after a year or 2 years. This was a while ago. I've probably grown up a little bit since, obviously. But I had met him, and we dated for a year. We did not live together. He lived in Toronto, and I lived just a little bit north of Toronto, and we used to see each other all the time. There was tension. I don't want to get into it because it's a long story. Yeah. But there's already a little bit of, you know, something.
Something just wasn't clicking
So
anymore.
then, of course, my person popped up, and your soulmate, you know, he popped up out of nowhere. And not that I cheated, but I think you definitely start building relationships around you with other people. And then you start thinking that, like, maybe that one person that you used to think was, like, your universe is suddenly not.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of ghosted because we didn't live together or really live in the same city. It was easy to kind of just not have the conversation. And I'm trying to think back, like, you know, 7 years ago or whatever, how long that was, what exactly I said. But generally speaking, I think it just fizzled and I just never pursued. And then it went on its way. Yeah. My first boyfriend, it was the same way. We dated for 5 years. That relationship of 5 years just kind of fizzled out, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just never addressed it, and I never pursued it.
So have you ever, linking back to the first thing we talked about, where, like, you know, breaking up in person, have you ever broken up with someone via text? Because I'm just thinking I have, and I'll explain it in a minute, but
yeah.
I'm just wondering where you've been known to, like, ghost, so I'm just wondering if you...
I wouldn't say I broke up. Yeah, I guess so. I definitely initiated via text. Yeah. And then just kind of never text them back. Yeah. Which, again, I'm smiling right now. Yeah. I'm not proud of it, but it was so long ago. Yeah. I was young, and I'm trying to think... And
this is all about now we're looking at our being in our 30s, and what is the right way to do it.
And I mean, I haven't really broken up with anyone... wholeheartedly in the last decade. So it's hard for me to think back to when I was younger, because I would probably do things a lot differently now. I wouldn't ghost.
My situation where it was via text, but it was a mutual thing. So maybe this could be like a little caveat too, where it's like, obviously if you're going to break up with someone, like this is your own plan, and in their mind everything's great and you're blindsiding them, obviously don't do it via text. Have a conversation with them.
Yours is like a mutual, so what, like you just text him and then he just forwarded it back to you?
Well, no, what had happened was I was in a relationship with someone for a year. It was long distance.
Yep.
They were about 2.5 hours away from me. It was a weird relationship in the sense that I loved him, yes. We were great together, yes. But there was a 3-year difference between us. I usually like people my age or older.
He was younger.
He was 3 years younger. Not that big of a deal, but he was a little immature. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He just, like, he was responsible. Like, he had a good job, had his own car, paid his own bills, had his own apartment. Like, very responsible that way. But just certain things we just weren't eye to eye on. And it was a very passionate relationship in the sense of, like, sex was great, but also fights were also very tumultuous, right?
Yeah.
And about almost a year that we were together, I was up visiting him. We were with his friends and stuff. And I can't remember what happened, but we got into a fight. And I left his place in the middle of the night and went to my friend Kelsey's and freaked out with her because I was all upset. Stayed at her place that night. And I just drove home. Didn't say bye to him, did nothing. We didn't talk for 2 weeks.
Oh
I'd
my
say.
gosh. And you're properly dating at this time.
Oh, yeah. We were officially in a relationship. And then we finally did start talking via text. And it was
Who initiated it? Do you remember?
I can't remember. But it was just a conversation. I had brought it up. I had brought up the fact of, maybe this just isn't working. And he kind of agreed. And we just ended it via text like that. There was no big discussion. There was no...
So, I mean, that was probably the breakup had started the 2 weeks prior.
Yes.
Having that time apart. And then it was like the first time you guys talked was like, we're not doing this, basically.
Yeah. And there may or not have been someone else on my bubble at that point. No, I wasn't cheating, but someone else had come along, and it was like...
It's hard when there's like that temptation, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I shouldn't say temptation because it makes us sound like, the next best thing. You like move on. But I feel like sometimes when you're missing things, and we know, this is a whole other episode, but cheating in general is usually when you're missing something in your relationship. There's no secret in that.
Yeah.
So both situations, it was like there was something missing, there was some tension or something. So then not that you turn to somebody else, but you start seeing the things you don't see in your current partner and that person, right? And it just kind of, it always makes it easier when you have somebody else kind of on your sight line. It just does.
It does.
That's a human nature.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So see, in that situation, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
You were mad.
It was just a mutual thing. And then when we started talking via text, like, we were no longer mad at each other. We just kind of talked it out and just
like
thought,
adults, this isn't working.
This just isn't working.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Yeah.
So
I think breaking up in general is super uncomfortable, but when you're the breaker-upper, it's always easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, right?
It's always like, bye.
Yeah. So here's a big one. If you're breaking up with someone, you have to say exactly what you mean.
Oh, yeah.
And exactly what you want. And what I mean by that is, if you're not in love with that person, if you don't want to be with them, you don't see a future with them, you need to tell them that it is a breakup.
Yeah.
It is a official breakup. None of this, I just need some time. None of this, we're on a break.
Yeah.
A la Ross and Rachel, like, none of that stuff. You have to be very clear, because the last thing you want to do is lead someone else on. And the reason why I'm being so, like...
adamant
is because I've been through that. And it really fucking hurts. One of my longest relationships, we lived together, we were very much...
You were a family.
Marriage was on the horizon, all this stuff. And he came home one night after work, sat on the end of the bed. I could tell something was wrong. And he just said that, with work and stuff, he just hasn't been happy in a while, and that he just needs some time to figure some stuff out, what he said.
And were you blindsided?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is the relationship where I felt I wasn't as happy anymore.
Yeah.
But I still loved him.
Of course. Working a lot, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just like we were just going through some type of rut. I didn't know it was to the point of we're going to break up. And so he said he just needed more time. And I remember he even said something along the lines of, we could even see other people. And then 5 years down the road, we'll get back together. Like we were in a house together. It wasn't our house, but we were renting it from a friend. And I packed up. I moved out. I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh yeah, like, well, he said he just needs some time. He told my mother. My mother talked to him, told her he just needed time. Like that's what he needed. I'll give him space. I'll give him time, and I'll be that. So this was in the summer. This was like June, beginning of June.
That this happened.
I moved in with a friend. Did not seek out boys, did not do anything, because in my mind, he needs space, but we're going to maybe work it out. It's going to be fine. And then time goes by where in my head, it's like, okay, obviously it's not going to happen.
What
right?
point was this at? Like a month after?
Like a couple months, we'll say.
Okay.
And then I found out he was with someone, in a relationship with someone. And then I found out he started that relationship like less than a month after the breakup, or just a month after the breakup. So he knew. He just didn't have the balls to say, this is officially over. And
which is crazy because he had the, I say decency, very loose term, to talk to you in person. So why not just take off the Band-Aid?
And here's the thing. It's like, so that, it was very fortunate that breakup, like a few weeks after we'd broken up, I was already over it. It was really weird. It was one of those things where it's like, I thought the relationship was what I wanted. And then he did the breaking up. So I got heartbroken. But then a few weeks after that, I realized, oh, I don't miss that relationship. I'm actually quite happy not to be with him.
Yeah.
So when I found out that he was with someone, it didn't upset me that he was with someone. It upset me that he had lied to me and gave me false hope.
Of course.
So there was a very brief period of time, no matter how brief it was, whether it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where I put my life on hold, thinking we were going to patch things up. And the whole time, he's off with someone else.
It wasn't like that at all.
No.
It's like you're thinking he's at home, like thinking about missing you or this, that, and this. Like,
and one of my friends had told me that he had said to her one time when he had started dating this new guy, that he was him and hawing whether or not to continue with this guy or to go back to me, as if I would be an option, right? So just, if you're going to break up with someone, if it's not working, you're not in love with them, you don't see a future, the worst thing you could do is try to protect them by saying something like sugarcoating it and saying something like, you know what, I just need time, I need space.
I knew somebody.
Let's take a break. Don't do that. Break up.
I knew somebody, the same thing happened. His long-term girlfriend broke up with him, and she said the exact same thing. And then not even a year later, she's has a dog with a brand new guy, and they have a home together. And I think 9 times out of 10, the whole I need space thing is usually like key for, I don't want to break up with you because I'm too afraid to, because I don't want you to freak out on me here. I'd rather just tell you this, keep you calm, and then pull a Brittany later on.
Yeah.
Just never talk to you again. That's tough.
And I get it. When you're in a situation where you're breaking up with someone and you're blindsiding them, it is hard, right? It gives you anxiety. It makes you anxious. And I find a lot of times when we're in those situations where you have to have a backbone, it's very easy to kind of mince your words and beat around the bush and, like, you know what I mean? Not try to ruffle feathers.
For sure.
I totally get it. But at the end of the day, you got to think of the other person. And that's not fair to that person.
No.
For you to sugarcoat anything.
No.
Right? They need to know.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you get over that hard hump. And then, like, it's like greener pastures. You have so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
You can freely heal on your own if that's what you feel like you need to do. You can spend time for yourself. You get to have, like, the idea of, like, where are they? Like, where's your next person? Where's your next victim?
Yeah.
You know, like, what are they doing? Are they in a relationship? Are they married? Do they have, like, what are they doing? Right? You get all those, like, fun feels.
Yeah.
Hard hump fun feels with Britt.
Yeah. A new segment coming 2022.
Hard humps fun feels.
Okay.
Okay, anyways. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get over that and, like, just put that pressure on yourself that you have to be honest and open and legit, because the worst thing is to kind of partly break up with them and then they leave and it's like, oh my God, I got that over with. Like, we're done. And then, like, know in your heart that, like, it was kind of like a half-assed breakup. You might as well just pull the whole Band-Aid off. You want this, like, flappy Band-Aid hanging off your leg?
Getting all infected and shit.
No, that's a great way of saying
no. We don't need none of that. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Let it heal and move on with your life.
Move on. And let that person move on. That's the big thing. Like, I find when you're doing the breaking up, it's all about putting that person first for that moment.
Yes.
And being clear, to the point of what's happening. Like,
Do a PowerPoint.
listen, yeah, do whatever you need to do.
Just break up properly.
Break up properly. And then another thing to note too is if you're breaking up with someone, you need to cut off the contact. And I know a lot of times we view that from the perspective of the person who's heartbroken,
Yep.
and they're the ones that have to like cut off the contact, delete the photos, get rid of them, and that's true. And we'll talk about that in the other episode. But even from the perspective of the person doing the breaking up, be the better person and cut off contact, because when you break up with someone and they're heartbroken, they're more likely to keep kind of trying to talk to you, right? Try to fix things, right? Try to be like, hey, like, can we just talk some more? Like, we can work through this. Like, please, like, just give me a chance, and we'll blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you have to cut off the contact. You should remove them from the social media, even if it's just temporarily, because during that breakup that I had, I was way too nice, for one thing, which is not something I usually am ever. But because we had the same group of friends, I didn't want there to be tension with our friends. I didn't want them to feel like they had to choose or have to, so I thought, no, we'll be friends. Like, that's what we'll do. We'll hang out as a group still.
No, that's hard.
We'll try to be friends. And it was hard. Like, luckily for me, I got over him so quickly that was fine. He was the one that was a little bit weird about it, because like, I had been in a new relationship, and so was he. And I remember we were at a party one time, and his boyfriend wasn't there. Mine was. And somehow he and I were in a bathroom together. I don't know how that happened. And he started talking, like, and he was drunk and I was drunk, and he started talking to me about things. And this was like 6 months after the breakup. Yeah. Because it was like a Christmas party.
It's got to feel good, though, that they're
and
like,
he was saying things
back.
about, do I miss him? Because he misses me. Do I miss what we had together? Do I miss all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And speaking from the perspective of him doing the breaking up, you should never do that. Because if I had been in turmoil still after that breakup,
oh my God, that
and
would have
he's
just been
saying
false
these
hope.
words to me,
Yeah.
and then I get my hopes up thinking, wow, he still wants me. He wants to make it work with me. And then for him to wake up the next day sober again, for him just to stay with his current partner, and then I get heartbroken again.
Yeah, you're like redoing
when you break up with someone, you need to be the bigger person and cut off the contact. If they're coming to you and saying, no, can we please talk some more? Give me a chance. Let's do therapy, which sometimes that can be the answer, right?
For sure.
But if you're very sure that this isn't what you want anymore, you're not in love with that person, you need to do the good thing for them and cut them out. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that, and I know, like, sometimes when you break up with someone, it's because you view them more as a friend and you want to be friends with them. And maybe down the road, maybe you can.
Not right now, though.
But at that point in time, when they're heartbroken and they still love you, you can't. I remember, like, the day after he had broken up with me, I went and stayed with my friend. I removed him from everything. Yeah. Me being heartbroken. I remember he had messaged me being like, oh, like, how come you removed me from Facebook? I'm like, because I don't want to see your stuff, because you just dumped me. Like,
yeah, why would
you know
what
I
mean?
Like,
yeah.
You have to cut off the contact, because you can't move on.
No. It's a tough one. Right?
And I guess that can lead into another thing, too, where it's like, for the love of God, do not sleep with them.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Both sides, because if Brittany might remember, this was my most recent kind of breakup with the person who I still consider, even though I'm much better, in a better headspace, I still consider him probably my soulmate. And no, but it's fine. No, it's okay. But I do. I recognize it, that he was someone that the cards were there, but they just weren't the right hand. I don't know.
That's good, Joe.
I don't play cards, but
that's good, Joe.
So we had broken up, and it was the kind of relationship where we had broken up because we still loved each other. Yeah. But things just weren't working.
The stars didn't align.
And so we did the right thing where we separated, and then for the first month or two, we did not talk. So we did the right thing by cutting off the contact.
Then what happened, Joe?
Then we started talking. We started messaging. And do you remember, like, I remember saying to Brittany and probably other friends too, being like, you know what? I don't care. This might hurt me, but I want to talk to him, so I'm going to.
Yeah. Joe would message me daily with that kind of message.
So what had happened was, and he doesn't live in the city. It was a long distance relationship. And so what had happened was we were talking and he decided to come up for a weekend. And I said, yeah, come on up for a weekend. And I was working. So this is pre-COVID. So I was in the office. Britt and I worked together, but she was off that day. And I told her, and she's like, all right, I'm jumping in the car, take a break. We're going to go for a drive.
Told the story, yeah.
And then I come into the office and she like rolls down her window, blaring Bad Idea by Ariana Grande.
I knew.
I got a bad idea.
But you know what? Joe and I will do these things where we know we're not supposed to be doing them. Not just relationships, just anything. And we'll say it, and then we'll be like, I'll get yours, Joe. Like, we always finish it with, like, you know what? I'm here to support you.
He came down the weekend. Yeah. Yes, obviously we were intimate. It was all that stuff. It was emotional. Should not have happened because we both were hurt by the end of it.
Yeah. And I mean, you're broken up now.
And we're broken up now, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's very hard.
The heart wants what it wants.
But when you're the person that's doing the breakup, when it's a relationship where you're no longer in love with that person, and you've broken up with them, and I haven't been through this, but I've seen this, where the person who had done the breaking up still communicates with the person who is heartbroken and still loves them, and will continue to sleep with them, but not make it a relationship. And then that person who was heartbroken always gets hurt. Well, don't be that asshole.
Yeah, because you're always thinking like they'll change their mind, or they're not gonna.
No, they're not gonna.
They're not gonna.
They've broken up with you.
They're not just stalking your Instagram.
They're just
like, you know what I mean?
Off.
Like,
you're an easy person for them to go and get off with.
Yes, like they're not. You know, we always. I know this is different, but we always think like, oh, they're looking at my Instagram stories, or they're No, you're just in the queue, and that's how I feel about that kind of thing. Hooking up with somebody after you break up, it's like. You're just in the queue. Like you've passed all like the pre-screening questions. They're comfortable with you. So they're just gonna, I mean, like they're not stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like you would never, what would you rather do? Sleep with somebody you've been sleeping with for the last year, or sleep with a complete stranger? You'd rather just sleep with the person you've been sleeping with if they're hot and you're attracted to them.
Yeah. Are you like, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna like do the legwork. How annoying.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're willing.
They're using you.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, breaking up. It's like when we were talking about doing this episode, I didn't have a lot to offer. Like I said, I haven't broken up with anybody and officially like broken up with anybody in like, what, 8 years?
I haven't. And that's the thing too. Like I've dated a lot.
Yeah.
But I consider myself as only really having 3 like real serious relationships. And then 2 other guys that I dated for a long term, but it never really went to the official stage.
Yeah.
And then a few guys that you just have situationships
here and there.
with.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of like breakups and stuff, I also haven't had.
Yeah.
I've only been heartbroken. Well, no, I guess I've been heartbroken all 3 times. But like in terms of being blindsided by a breakup, just that one time.
And that's like me as well.
The other 2, it was a mutual, even though I broke my own heart.
Yeah.
It was a mutual thing. And the person that I was with for a year, the one that I said was a very tumultuous relationship.
Yeah.
He was 3 years younger, a little immature. That period of my life, I was going through a really hard time. We had, some family shit going on, and it was a very stressful time in my life. So when I look back on it, him being the kind of person he was, like the jokester, the funny guy.
Was probably good for you at that time.
It was good for me at the time.
Yeah.
I could just kind of get away from the serious stuff.
Yeah.
And just have a laugh with him, have some good sex, whatever it is. And then when we ended, that again was the right time. We ended, and I ended up getting with someone. It was a weird situation, but I ended up getting with the next person.
Yeah. Who
I was with for 3, almost 4 years, and I was deeply in love with. That person is probably the biggest love of my life, right? Been in love 3 times, but he's like the number 1 person that I really, really was in love with.
Yeah.
But I needed that other person at that time to get me through some of that
stuff.
And
I think that's a really good point, is whether you're the breaker or the breaky, it doesn't matter. The person you're with at the time in your life, for these big relationships, always serve a purpose in your life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My relationship with my current partner, I can't imagine comparing anything to that ever. But then you think about your previous partners and you think you can't imagine comparing anything to that because it's so big at the time.
Yes.
And I think like what you just said, you hit the nail on the head when you say every partner you have serves a purpose at that point in your life. And I mean, my God, you can't sit here and say if you've been married 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, you can't tell me that you've been in love those whole 20 years. It's just the times that were below the horizon. Some people break up. And that's where the breakup comes from. Or some people come back above the horizon
They're able
together.
to push through that
That's
stuff.
the only difference,
Yep.
right? And I just think it's important to note that whether you're breaking up or whatever it is, you feel what you feel. And that person served that purpose in your life at that time. And you no longer need them. I don't mean it like that, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think too, like if you're the kind of person that you're nervous to hurt that person, just think of it as they deserve someone who loves them.
Yeah,
and is
for
going
sure.
to, is going to view them as their whole world.
Yeah.
And if you're not that person, then you need to end it so that they can go and find their person, and you can go and find yours.
And you can go find yours for
right?
sure. Yeah.
I think
Gosh,
that's like the
breaking up,
takeaway.
man.
That's the takeaway right there.
I'm trying to think if I had any takeaways, any last piece of advice I could give somebody breaking up. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. Between the tears, listen, you're going to be dating again, clear skin, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Hydration, water.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, water solves everything.
It does. I mean,
That's
aren't we
good.
75% water and cucumbers?
Science
No,
with Joe.
we're cucumbers with anxiety. That's what we
Oh,
are.
I've never heard that before.
Because we're 75% water.
That.
And like we're a cucumber. I love that I said, aren't we 75% water and cucumbers? But that didn't make sense. So breeze by that, if you will.
And there you go.
So yeah, I developed a game.
I know,
for
I don't
us
even know about
today.
this game.
Brittany has no idea what it is.
It's quite the page you got there.
Something I've put together.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it, Are You With It or Are You Brittany?
I mean,
Because Brittany ain't with it.
I'm not with it. I don't know.
So Brittany gave me this inspiration because a few episodes ago, she brought up a Gen Z lingo word that she had no clue. It was link up. She thought linking up meant to fuck around.
Have sex.
When it meant just to hang out and get together with someone.
No. Yeah.
So I created a list. I did some
So
research.
happy. Yep.
I created a list of some Gen Z lingos.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna ask Brittany what she thinks they mean. Whether she knows them, maybe she knows them. And if she doesn't, what is her guess
Are you
at
with
what
it
they
or
mean?
are you Brittany? Thanks,
Okay.
Joe. Yeah.
So number 1, cap. CAP. What does cap mean?
Can you use it in a sentence?
No, because I can't give it away. What do you
Like,
think
okay,
that
is
could
it
be?
like an abbreviation or is it like,
No.
hey man, I'm Cap?
To be honest with you, I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
That's whack. That's Cap. Like that kind
That's
of thing.
cap. Is that could be
No,
it.
is that
That could
is
be
it
it.
like a saying or is it like stand for something?
It's a saying.
It's a saying.
Yeah.
Cap it off. I don't know. I have no idea. I would say that's Cap.
That's cap. Well, yeah. So like saying like that's awesome, that's good, that's
I don't know.
cap. So it's something that is considered false or an outright lie. So it's most commonly used in the phrase "no cap," meaning no lie. So an example. So here's my example. That Ellie Goulding song is a bop. No cap, right? No lie. Truth, motherfucker.
So it's like, do you want to play a game of truth or cap?
No, you probably wouldn't say it that way. I mean, you would.
That is Cap.
That is cap. Okay,
It's
ready?
so stupid. Yeah.
Number 2.
This game is just gonna
Number
make me
2.
feel.
Drip. DRIP.
Is that
Drip.
okay? Is that like you've got like?
Come on.
I'm tea kettle laughing because I don't know. Like drip is like steez.
What? What is that?
That's another Gen Z term.
Well, okay, what does it mean?
Like I had a hat one time I got for
Okay.
Christmas. It says no steezin' for the season.
Oh
or
my god, I
steezin'
do
for the
remember you
season.
saying that you had a hat that said that.
Steez. A person's distinctive and attractive or impressive style of dress or the way of doing things. That the pearl studs added a snazzy touch to her steez.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, I don't know why you'd hear snazzy and steez in the same
I
sentence.
would never say Steve.
But yeah, like I got mad drip.
A cool sense of
I
style.
hit up American Eagle and I got mad drip.
A cool sense of style can refer to clothes or the way someone carries themselves. And I put Kristen Cavallari's drip is iconic.
Are you like proud of me for knowing that?
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
Drip, drip, dripping. Look at you, drip, drip, dripping. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got drip, no cap.
Okay, what have I started? Oh my God. She's just going to be talking in Gen Z lingo all the time.
Okay.
Yo, Joe, check out the drip. No cap, motherfucker.
I got steez.
I be steezing this season. Okay, ready? Number 3. High key. HIGHKEY. High key.
Well, I know what low key is. High key is like telling the truth.
No, not really. I mean,
well, you'd be like,
I mean, you wouldn't
low-key
say
love this song.
like you wouldn't say
low-key
yeah,
love this song.
but
So
you
you'd be
wouldn't.
like, I high key don't like this song.
But I wouldn't be like, yo, bitch, tell me the truth. Tell me the high key.
what is it?
But you're onto something with the low key. It is the opposite of low key. So what's low key?
I don't really know. I've just heard it like.
Okay.
Like Gen Z would be like, yo, low key, that's trash. Right? Because trash is another way of. Isn't that something?
Low key.
Isn't trash another term?
Low key is like almost like it would be like the down low, like a low key.
Like how you're asking me like what?
Okay, high key is the opposite of low key. It's
Yeah.
commonly used when you want to emphasize something. So I said Brittany high key loves Doritos.
I do love Doritos.
She loves
Zesty
Doritos.
specifically.
She loves. Do you know what's really funny? I gotta say this. So we watch Zoella's Vlogmas all the years. We watch them every year.
Yeah, we do.
She's a UK-based influencer and does these Christmas videos.
She's the best. Look her up.
And was it was it her videos? Yes, she had just got her nails done, and you were going off at how you didn't like her nails.
I didn't like them. That was like
right?
Vlogmas 2000.
And I messaged Brittany being like, yeah, and then you show me your nails to show them off, and it's full of Dorito dust.
I mean, I do love Doritos. There was actually
does.
a bucket hat out last year.
Yeah.
Dorito merch, and
There was a time last year, and Brittany wanted to pilot some bucket hats.
You know when listen,
They are on trend.
They are on trend. They're
I just picture
low-key.
you. I just picture you wearing the kind of like the little boys
the
wear.
Dorito, the Dorito bucket hat.
And not like a chic one, but like.
Remember that meme when the coronavirus first started like coming about, and it was just like, pretty soon we're gonna have to start foraging for our food. I don't know where Doritos live.
Oh, I know.
That's me.
You.
I don't know where they live. So yeah, I do love Doritos. I love that this is not only making me sound like I don't know what the lick, but also that I just sit at home and just watch vlogs about the Arctic and eat Doritos.
I got you.
Can always count on you,
Okay.
Joe.
You'll know.
Wait, so what's
I
high
think
key then?
You want to emphasize something. So like high key love that mug. I high key love
Which says, what does my mug say?
positivity, please.
There you go.
You're gonna find none of that here. Okay, ready? We got 3 more.
Oh God.
You'll know this one, but I'm curious to know if you know where it comes from. Okay?
Now we need the origin of the saying.
Stan.
Yeah.
STAN.
You're a Taylor Swift.
I'm not a Taylor Swift. What does that mean?
Isn't that where it comes from?
No.
Okay.
Like, how?
Go for it.
How?
Because I'm thinking like Taylor Swift. No, okay, a stan is a fan, but it stands for 2 words put together, which I don't know what the other word is. Right?
No.
Okay. I don't know what it is then. I don't know.
You're right on what it is. It's like a super fan, excessively enthusiastic of a celebrity's work. So you
Okay.
get that right. But it comes from an Eminem song. He has a song called
Oh, yeah,
Stan
yeah.
about an obsessive fan that writes to him and stuff, and that's where that comes from.
Did not know.
You thought it came from Taylor Swift?
No, I didn't think it came from Taylor Swift. That's where I've heard it, where it's like her stans are
stans.
crazy.
So
Honestly, I probably heard it from you.
the example is Joey is a stan of
Katy Perry.
not where I was going, but
Ariana. I almost called her
oh
Ariana.
my god. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the very last episode of 30 Kind of Flirty.
I'm not painting a good picture of me at all.
Okay.
Ariana Grande, you're a
Yes,
stan.
I am a stan. I am a fan of Katy Perry. I'm a fan. I don't stan it. The only person I stan is Ari.
Yeah, you love
I would
her.
say. Next one, wig. WIG.
I don't know.
I don't even know.
I
Pretty
don't
gives
know.
up.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you the example. OMG, just saw Beyonce live. Wig.
I can't. Like, I am tapping out. I don't know.
Something blows you away. Like, you are so shocked your wig would fly off.
Can we take a moment of like,
I
are
think
these actual, like, do people just like...
People, yeah. I have seen these all used.
Look, listen,
I just
I'm
never
not
knew
trying to
all they
like,
meant.
what is it, badmouth or put down Gen Z. Okay, I just want to take a moment. When I was younger, because what's Gen Z? Like, how old would Gen Z be right now? Like,
Well,
where
they're
are all these
younger than
terms
us.
coming from? Are they like 18,
Aren't they
19?
like, yeah, early 20s?
When
late
I was
20s?
18 or 19, like,
Well, we had
I was drinking alcohol in the bush.
Well, we had words too, like on fleek.
Was that when we were 18 or 19 though?
Well, early 20s. Yeah, because it came. I remember being in a Nicki Minaj song. Pretty
I'm trying to
on
think,
fleek.
did I have anything that was like remotely close to this vocabulary? And I'm trying to think, like, I would never
No,
be like.
I'm pretty sure generations are getting dumber
although
and dumber.
I guess that's whack. And
That's
I,
whack.
I,
Yeah,
I
there's
know
lingo-
that's from like,
There's lingo from like the 80s and stuff,
which
too,
is like that's crazy, and it's
right?
like
like
yeah, I guess.
what was it like?
What do you
oh my
always say?
God.
You always say something that kills me. Groovy.
Groovy. That's real groovy. I do.
I'll say something to Joey. I'll be like, Joe, like, I'll pick you up, like, whatever. We'll go out. We'll get Starbucks. And he'll just come back groovy.
Groovy. I want to bring that back.
So I guess, yeah, I'll give them a break, okay? Fine. There's other lingo in other generations.
So that's what wig means. And now you know.
Oh, wig.
Okay, just one more. That's all I got for you. One more.
This is hard.
But this is one that actually has two separate definitions.
Oh, great.
So it's funny. Or I mean, it's interesting, not funny. Yeet. Y-E-E-T. Yeet.
I've heard this before. I'm trying to think, where did I hear it? I don't know. I couldn't even begin to guess.
So one example I have here. Did you see the new Christmas Hallmark lineup? Yeet.
Like,
We're so old.
like yay, but lazy?
Just an explanation of approval, excitement. Yeet. Those Doritos are dope, yo. Yeet. No cap.
I would never.
Those Doritos be dripping and I hot key love them. I am a stan of those Doritos. So, use them all. There you go. But then the second
Oh my God.
definition is powerful throw. So I said, Joey got so excited, he yeeted his ponytail extension out the window.
You can use it as like a verb. Yeeted.
Yeah.
Yeeted.
Yep. A verb or...
It sounds very medieval. I yeet thee.
I
mean, I don't know what.
But I will tell you right now, I only knew, I did not know cap. I knew drip. I knew high key. I knew stan. I knew wig. I didn't know. I've seen yeet for the powerful throw one where like I yeeted something. I've seen that, but like just say throw. Why threw it? I don't get it.
Yeet. I can't. I mean, all I picture is if we were back in the office, you would just like hear me talking to somebody down there, like with all this lingo. You'd be like, oh God.
Oh God, there she goes.
All you can see is the top of my bucket hat.
like
going around the corner.
All I can hear is like crunching on Doritos.
Oh my God. Like, honestly, Doritos, if you're listening, who makes Doritos? Is it
Sponsor us.
Frito-Lay? God,
I'm
they're
surprised
genius.
you don't know that fake.
They
fan.
are just a marvel of engineering.
A marvel.
Marvel.
Okay.
Marvel.
Well, and that was a little game. That was fun. I had some laughs.
Sure.
I didn't know some
Kills
of them.
me though, honestly.
Like you could probably go on.
Were you surprised that I knew drip?
Yeah. I was surprised.
100%.
100%. I didn't. I just yeah.
That's so funny. I wonder how I know that.
Drip. I don't know. I see be dripping. Some of them if you listen to rap music, maybe that's why I know some.
Kills me.
But
There you go.
there you go. That's that. And that's it for this week, folks.
I know. I'm trying to think. Was there anything else to add? We didn't really give any like tips or tricks to like how to break up. We just said don't do it a bad way.
Well, that's the trick. That's the tip. That's the tip. We told them how to do it. Yeah, listen.
Just be chill.
You know.
Back to your notes, okay?
Review. Do it in person.
Yep.
Say exactly what you mean.
Yep. Don't sleep with them.
If it's a breakup,
Yep.
don't sleep with them. Cut off
Yep.
all the contact.
Yep.
Don't stay just because it's easier. And I also had to, like, don't pity them. Like, don't do the whole it isn't you, it's me thing.
Oh, yeah. Ew.
Like, don't make
Yeah,
them feel bad or pity. Like, just
Move
do
on.
the breakup and go your separate
And
ways
go your separate
and
ways.
be happy in
No
other
cap.
avenues of your life. No cap.
Okay.
You said that right.
Thank you,
No
Joe.
cap.
I'm trying to think, like, any other housekeeping. Like, that was the episode, obviously. Yeah. My tea's gone, so you know it's over. Yeah, I think I'm going to start piloting something this November into December. I started on Twitter, if you haven't seen.
How many followers do we have on Twitter?
I don't know. It's ballpark. I'm not sure.
Instagram's been blowing up though. So.
Yes, so which is great. I'm gonna call you Flurries. We're Flurries for the remainder of the year. So
yeah,
that's what I'm
she's
trying.
gonna call you Flurries. I'm gonna call you Hi Guys.
I love that, Flurries.
Yeah, so if you're still enjoying what you're listening to, subscribe to us on all the platties, as Brittany says.
All the avails platties.
Give us a rating and a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Anything less, we don't care.
Follow us on Instagram at 30 Kinda Flirty Podcast.
Yep.
Follow us on Twitter at Kinda Flirty.
Yes. What? Sorry, what was the
Kinda
question?
Flirty.
On what?
Twitter.
At Kinda Flirty.
At Kinda
That's
Flirty.
all I can fit.
If you have any feedback, any suggestions for topics, you can send us an email at 30kindoflirtypodcast@gmail.com. And just so you know, I know a few people have sent us suggestions, and we do have a schedule built to the end of the year, so stay tuned.
My friends,
Britt just
my
yawned,
Flurries.
so I guess
It's the tea.
we out.
What's the decaffeinated tea?
All right. Bye, guys.